You wanna? Okay, cool. So, you've all seen the title by now. So what is this? This is just something that I can do, or like put out for you guys, while I'm writing the script for the next episode of One Piece. Plus, I just wanted to do it. I'm gonna stop at around I'm gonna say the end of season 2, because I'm getting the light novels that season 3 covers, and I plan on reading those, and then I'll continue through the season 3 light novels, and not any further, because I prefer to watch the anime first, and then see what I missed out by reading the light novels, because watching the anime after reading the light novels is just like, okay, what they leave out. And I'd prefer to go back and find out what I missed in the source content than watching the source, than, going through the source material, then going to the anime. So, yeah, that's why. Also, some information. This is going to be a harem, and it's going to be progressing a lot faster than in canon, because I can. Basically, Belle is going to have a mindset of, if I love multiple women and all the women that I love are in love with me, then what's wrong with me dating all of them? As long as all of them are okay with it, I don't see a problem with me dating all of them. That's his mindset. He doesn't see the problem with it. It's like, why should I have to, hurt them and myself? That just sounds stupid to him. So that's why the whole harem thing. Now, let's just get into it. This is what if Belle Cornell was a demigod. Now, he doesn't know he is a demigod. I just want to make sure I'm recording, because last time I tried to do this, it stopped recording for some reason. But yeah. So, what if Belle was demigod? Which means, he's going to be the biological son of Zeus, and his mother will be a half-human, half-spirit hybrid, and the spirit part of her is like a fire spirit, because we're going with it. Which makes Belle a demigod of flaming thunder. That's what we're gonna call him, the demigod of flaming thunder. Ignore that. Shut up, stupid stomach. Anyway, so yeah, so he's the demigod of flaming thunder, and I'm gonna say he has super strength and nothing else. So basically, his strength and his attacks are on par with the level 3. But he's stuck in this mindset that he's still weak. Belle in this case is muscular, but it's like a lean muscle. So he still has his same figure, it's just the muscle is much more pronounced on his body. So yeah. So because he's part spirit, even without what's it called? A blessing, he can use magic. Though he doesn't know that he can, And his father, Zeus, doesn't tell him that he can, and doesn't tell him that he's a demigod. Anyway, but because of his immense strength, he does know he has immense physical strength. All he does, but which means he thinks that he can just lift things. He doesn't think that his attacking power is all that great, because he doesn't have a blessing. And if that's how things work here, if you don't have a blessing, you're weak. He's stuck in that mindset. Zeus doesn't give him his blessing because he's a demigod. Bel will be getting some more demigod abilities as time goes on, especially after he finds out that he's a demigod. Then, those abilities will start showing up. But for now, they don't. So, Bel does have, a lot of money for doing odd jobs over the years, like working in the fields and all that stuff. His entire life since he was 4, that's all it's been, because he's been super strong since he was a baby, basically Hercules level strength. If you watched Disney Hercules, that's basically what his level of strength is. Oh god, I'm losing my voice. Anyway, so yeah, that or my voice is getting deeper. I don't like it. But yeah. So we're gonna time skip to when he gets to Aurario. When he gets to Aurario, everyone wants him to join their familia. Except for the really high-ranking familias, people want him to join their familias. He can, being part god, he can tell when people are lying to him. So he denies them. He's the one denying them instead of them denying him. Sometimes they'd try to attack him and he'd just kick the shit out of them. Because, again, demigod. And he must think they're probably just, new adventurers that don't have any increase in any of their abilities. At least that's how he plays it off. And, he walks away. Until eventually he meets Hestia, and he can see the, kindness of this goddess. And, how, she just wants, a familia of her own, wants a family of her own. And he wants the same thing, as the only family he's ever known is his father. And his father, like Zeus did in the original canon, faked his death. So, yeah, Bel ends up joining the Hestia Familia. Also, if I accidentally say Izuku instead of Bel, I'm pretty sure it's obvious why. I do a lot of what if Bel's not, a lot of what if Deku's not, a lot of what if Bel's. So, if I say Izuku instead, that's probably why. So, yeah. So, then we will time skip again. His Aina, or Aina, I should say, Aina, I believe is how you pronounce her name, is still Bel's dungeon advisor, as he goes and yeah, so he goes and oh, it's gone. I actually have to put effort into doing this in order for my voice not to sound like this. Wonder why. That's kind of weird. But I don't feel like putting effort into it, so we're gonna leave it like this. So, let me ging out my Danmachi timeline. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, so we're just gonna time skip to when the Minotaur attack on floor 5. So, Bel has some decent stats. Aina put him through some tests, and realized his brute physical strength and attacking power. I'm recording, and so he just. But for safety's sake, she tells him not to go past floor 10 yet. And that if he does, to be part of a party before he goes anywhere past floor 10. So he's allowed to go to floor 10. But to play it safe, Bell doesn't go past floor 5. So he's doing his grinding on floor 5 mostly. And he does it pretty easily until he gets attacked by a Minotaur. And because he doesn't think a Minotaur is a level 2 monster, he doesn't think he can take it on, and he runs away until he's cornered. Now, Izuku, the reason I said Izuku had a lot of money is because he bought his own equipment and didn't have to go in debt with a guild. Izuku bought a short sword and some pretty decent armor for, a level 1. So, yeah, as a short sword, and he's constantly telling Hestia how he wants to get something more. He wants to get a long sword. He'd much prefer a long sword than, the short sword that he has. It's because it puts more distance between him and the monster. Now, as Bell is fearing for his life, Aiz gets there, but he's in a last-ditch effort. He raises his sword as it gets covered with fire and lightning, and he just swings it down with his eyes closed, not really knowing what's going on, as he splits the Minotaur's head in half, because demigod abilities. He could probably, match a level 7 with that attack, because demigod, probably more than that, actually, because demigods have the same level of strength as actual gods. At least those that have attacking power do. So Bell could rival any god using their arcanum if he, learned how to use his demigod abilities. If you haven't figured it out yet, Bell's overpowered in this, but not yet. He'll get overpowered later. Bell does have a magic attack, from the beginning. As soon as he, went in, as soon as he got his, blessing from Hestia, Hestia realized his race and kind of freaked out about it, and she just played it off as, there's something weird with his status, so she shows him, and he has a magic spell called Lightning Bolt. The spell's incantation goes something like, Holy lightning from the heavens, grant me your strength in the form of a speedy lightning bolt, something like that. If you guys have something better, please, because it's a short incantation that doesn't take more than 5 seconds to do, but 5 seconds could be, a lot. But 5 seconds could be a lot of time in the dungeon. Again, don't feel like putting effort into my voice right now. I'm groggy. Yeah, so back to the point. So he kills the Minotaur, but with Aiz on the other side of the Minotaur, he thinks Aiz did it for him. He kind of wipes off the blood on his face. Actually, fire, lightning, turn to ash. There's very little blood on his face, but he still wipes the blood off of his face. So he's not covered in blood like he was in the anime. Anyway, so, he still gets admiration for Aiz like he does in canon, but she says that it was him who did it, but he doesn't believe her, and thinking that she's just trying to make him, feel better, which leads to even more admiration, which will lead to even faster growth. So anyway, Bet gets there and he's like, I don't want to deal with this, and he just runs away to do more grinding. And yeah, so he ends up going home late that day. Still gets his money. They no longer live in the church, as most of his money goes towards, having living expenses. So they have an apartment, like we're talking, like a 2-bedroom apartment with a large living area. Because Belle at this point is probably making like 25,000 valas a day. Okay. And then today he brought home like 50,000 valas. And he's been doing this for about a month, let's say. So he's got he had enough to purchase this relatively small apartment. And by large living area, I just mean large comparatively to the bedrooms. So he spent most of his money on living expenses like a couch, a coffee table, a dining table, like cookware and all of that. Cookware, all that stuff. So yeah, that's where most of his money goes. It doesn't go towards like adventuring equipment, so he still doesn't have his long sword. He still doesn't have, better armor. So yeah, so then he gets home and gets his status updated. Also, Belle is a gentleman and is very kind and respectful of women. Not a simp, but kind and respectful. And yeah, he also has the one thing that he did buy is he bought a cloak made out of the hides of monsters. That gives him a bit of protection, but also lets him hide his face when needed, because he doesn't like people staring at him, because he's felt like someone's eyes on him for a bit now, and he just wanted to hide himself. And the cloak helps with that. So he still gets Realis phrase. And right now his stats are sitting about H. They're sitting about H. Agility and strength are G, because I'm saying he's going to be equally matched in both strength and agility. So, yeah. No, fuck it. I'll put effort into my voice. I don't want to feel like I don't want anyone to feel like I'm not putting effort into this. But it's just I'm tired. But yeah, I'll put effort in, because if I don't, I sound stupid. But yeah. So Izuku. Fuck. Belle then leaves the next morning. I feel like I need to say this. When Hestia found out that he was a demigod, like the first ever, like part god, part some other race, she doesn't know yet. Probably most likely part human. She started to feel like she realized that even though she liked him, like being a demigod, he's probably not gonna be with just one person for his entire life. You know what I mean? You know, he's probably, you know, not gonna be, you know, a demigod. You know, he's probably not gonna be, you know, with a singular woman his entire life because he's a demigod. So she's not as protective of Belle, which is probably one of the reasons why his harem grows faster than, you know, normal. So yeah, there's that. Shut up, you stupid stomach. So yeah, so anyway, so he goes to the you know, dungeon that day with the same vigor that Belle did, wanting to become strong like Eyes. When and he has taken Hestia on dates before, and you know, been the real gentleman kind of type of person. Kiss at the end of the date. They end up sleeping in the same room because Hestia sneaks into his bed anyway. So he decided, you know, just sleep in the same bed. You're gonna end up that way in the morning anyway. And so he goes, and he still meets Steer, and the interaction is more or less the same. Goes to the dungeon, kills a lot more monsters. In fact, even goes down to floor 6 to, you know, hunt monsters. And, you know, comes back with no more than a few scratches and scrapes. Washes them off in the shower rooms. Then goes back, turns in all of his stuff. Gets his, you know, normal daily thing of like 50. This time he gets 50,000 Valis. No, probably a bit more than that, as he went farther into the dungeon and, you know, slaughtered a lot more. And so the whole thing goes to, then we go to him at, finding out that Hestia's going to the banquet of the gods, and he goes, out to eat at, the, Benevolent Mistress? There are so many different names I've heard of this. But yeah. So, as soon as he sees Loki Familia, or rather, as soon as he sees Bet, he puts the hood up and just continues eating. Bet starts making fun of him like he did in normal, saying that he just ran away, and stuff like that. And I said that he was the one who killed the Minotaur, and then and not only that, but he killed it with one blow with some seemingly extremely strong skill, as it covered his blade in lightning and fire. All of them started speculating this as maybe it was like a high-ranking level 2 adventurer, but Bet says, well, I've seen the posters of every level 2 adventurer in Aurario, so unless the god was hiding their level, that's not it. And Finn agrees with that, as Finn is the kind of person who keeps up to date with, you know, every level up in Aurario. Unless the level up hasn't been, you know, confirmed and sent to the guild yet. No, they know it's just because he's a demigod. But yeah. Even he doesn't know he's a demigod, so why would they know? Loki isn't like tip it off out like this is something godly, because that's not really how, Eyes explained it. Anyway, Bell does pay that day, and then, leaves with his hood on. And Eyes getting a glimpse and going after him, but he just runs to vent his anger. And because Eyes defended him again, saying that he was the one who killed him, he has even more admiration than he did before, leading to much greater admiration than in canon. So he goes down into the dungeon again and goes all the way down to floor 8. He's a lot stronger than this. He could probably like solo his way down to floor 17 at this point. I mean, he probably couldn't kill Goliath down there, but he'd be pretty strong. But he'd be pretty strong, okay? He'd be pretty strong. So yeah. So he gets up and goes home, and the next morning he gets his status updated because he's so, beaten and bloodied. Because he was because he didn't have much of a strategy other than just go in and kill the bitch. So he did take, like, a lot of, hits from the monsters, as you need a lot more than just brute strength to fight your way through the dungeon. You need strategy too, otherwise you'll get outnumbered. So, yeah. So that happens. They updated his status. His status is everything except for speed, except for agility and strength, are D. And agility and strength are both C. Because, like I said, he is getting... his admiration is a lot stronger than it is in the canon. Plus, he's just wrecking things left and right anyway. like he attacks a monster, it gets one shot. Like, not even lying to you, it's one shot pretty easily. So, and that day, is the day she leaves for, the Banquet of the Gods. And so, the whole thing with her begging Hephaestus to get her a weapon, goes the same way. So, yeah. Except this time, she's asking her to make Bell a short sword, or rather a long sword, because he said he's always wanted a long sword. Right? Because, the same reasons she did in canon. And because he still thinks that he's weak, even though he's not. So that still happens, except this time it's a beautifully made longsword, not a beautifully made knife. Now, 3 days have passed as she's been gone for 3 days. Bell's gone in and been wrecking in the dungeon. He's cleared all the way to floor 8, meaning he's gone through every possible passage that is mapped in from floors 1 through 8. And since he's done that, and since his stats are so high, he goes down to floor 9 without telling Ina. I fucking forget. Ina. At all. Oh, and, so yeah, he goes down there, so he's getting, 60,000 Valis every day now, going down there. That's the lowest he gets. He's getting at least 60,000 Valis, and he's just saving up more and more and more and more. So yeah. So Monsterphilia begins in Aurario. Same thing happens. This is like at the end. Like 3 days have passed and the sword has been made. It's put in a scabbard and strapped to Hestia's back. Belle still has the same interaction with Anya and Ryu, and takes the purse to Seer. He gives them his 1,000-watt smile, as it is a trait that both Izuku and Belle share, that 1,000-watt smile. And goes off. Anya. Is, kind of attracted to him, but she doesn't know why. And Ryu sees something in him that she doesn't see in many people, and that's a pure heart. Because he's still like pure of heart and everything. He just has that state of mind, like, why should I have to harm someone if I love them and they love me, and the other person that I love that also loves me is okay with it? Like, I love them both equally. I shouldn't have to decide, and they're okay with me loving both of them at the same time, of me dating both of them at the same time, so there's no problem with that, right? But, like, I'm talking about pure of heart as in not, perverted or sexual or just wanting to stick his dick in it. He's someone that if he loves you, he loves you for who you are, not for what you look like. So he goes to see her and gives her a purse, in which she kisses him right on the lips, because I can do that. And yeah, so that happens. Hestia's like, God damn it, I didn't think it would happen this soon. Because it's like it's only been like a month, like a little more than a month, maybe like a week more than a month since they've met. So the silverback still gets loose as it chases Belle. Belle brings it down to Daedalus Street because not a lot of people are there, which means less collateral damage. So Hestia upstates his status again. All of his stats are now, I'm going to say B, while his strength and agility are now A, almost S. Because it's just easier. I'm going to say his magic is also A, but like just barely A, because he does use his magic a lot. He does use Lightning Bolt a lot. So that happens. Yeah. So he ends up, using the longsword to, dancing around the silverback's punches. This because, this is just, if Belle with the lower stats could take out a silverback, this Belle with the super heightened stats and like freaking godlike strength could definitely this bitch, like, no cap. He ends up like cutting its head off, like just that great. His strength is just that great. And so, Silverback turns to ash. He takes the crystal, he pockets it. He's not as how do I put this? he sheathes the sword, and he's not as drained from it because it was much easier for him with the much higher stats, and he starts to see that he's actually stronger enough to like take on these things. Now, eyes, like Bella's starting to realize I could probably go down to floor 12, solo, but it's pretty risky, so I probably shouldn't try that. So Eyes was there to witness it. Loki didn't witness it. Hestia falls asleep on Bell still because unconscious. Yeah. So then Bell goes to Ina saying that, he wants to go deeper into the dungeon and he needs her clearance. So he's asking her if he can, and she's saying that, all of his stats are now, A or almost A. And, I think he would say, can we talk, in private? And then they'd have that conversation about his stats. He would then let her look at his back, and she sees something weird, saying that it's where his race is, it says that he's a demigod. That's strange, because on his, forms that the guild has, it says that he's human, not demigod, which means part god. So she's, trying, she's not trying, she's, being the proper person she is she holds her, stuff back. So, she's holding her, well, how do I put this? Her what the back, So she says, well, with your stats, then you should, I guess I can't say you, with your stats, you should be able to go down there. So say that, and then says that they need to, buy him better armor before he goes down there. So don't go past floor 7, let's say, because that's what he does in canon. So Bell, listening to her advice, not really, goes down to floor 7 and then goes down to floor 8 for a little bit because he knows he's strong enough to do that. And during his time in the dungeon, Aina goes to visit Hestia, and they have a conversation about what his race is. Hestia, knowing that she can't keep it a secret any longer, says that it means he's part god, part human. At least she's thinking that the other half is human, which she technically isn't wrong, but only 25% of that other half, only 50% of that other half is human. The other 50% of that half is, spirit. So he's, she's technically right, but also technically wrong. So yeah, that interaction happens, and Hestia tells her not to tell anyone, as it would only be bad for Belle, and she's technically not wrong. It would be extremely bad for Belle, as all these other gods would be trying to, take him, or some might even try to get rid of him as a whole, because they don't want someone who has the strength of a god and is actually able to use it in the lower world to be here, because that seems quote-unquote unfair to them. So they'd probably want to get rid of him. At least that's how some gods would think. Okay. So if they were to tell anyone, it would be extremely bad and put Bell in a position where he'd be even closer to death every day, because not only in the dungeon would his life be in danger, but even above ground his life would be in danger. And Aina was her mother. Aina having this, attraction towards Belle for being, kind and, caring and, self-sacrificing, and seeing her as, like, a huge help, and he couldn't get anywhere without her, seeing that, she's more of a help to him than he would ever be to her, which, in case you didn't know, Ina's, like, likes to see herself as, valued. She wants to be the person to help others, not the person in need of help. So having him see her as more helpful than he could ever be to her, really tugs at her heartstrings. So then the next day, Belle and Aina visit the Hephaestus Familia's shops in the Tower of Babel. Belle still buys the same armor that he does in canon, as it's much better than his other stuff, but this time it comes with a shield to match the armor, which he puts over his left arm. Aina still buys him the protector, which he puts on his right arm because he has the shield on his left. Now, at the end of the date, because it's basically a date, I just want to make sure I'm still recording. It's basically a date, guys. It's basically a date. Belle pulls Aina in and kisses her on the lips, because she's been, like, slightly blushing the entire time, and this puts her over the edge. And she wraps her arms around the back of his head and kisses him back. 'Cause, yeah. Now, let's just be honest here. He now starts to feel eyes watching him again as Freya starts looking at him again. And let's be honest, Belle could probably tell that it's a god that's watching him. Like, a human couldn't give this sense of foreboding that he's getting from this person watching him. So Aina is officially added to the harem. He hasn't slept with any of them yet. It's literally purely just dates and making them feel good. Not in the sexual way. Making them feel good, mentally. So Belle meets Lily in the alleyway, and that interaction goes more or less the same, except he's using his longsword instead of a dagger. And his stats are a lot higher, and this guy that he's attacking him is only level 1. He just kicks him and he goes flying down the alleyway. Ryu comes up saying that she was going to help him, but it looks like he didn't need it. Belle says, "Hey, wait, where'd that little girl go? Where'd that prune girl from earlier go?" To see that she's gone. He sheathes his sword and talks to Ryu for a bit and offers to help her carry that stuff back to the benevolent mistress. Is accidentally touching her hand in the process, in which she realizes that, she doesn't mind his touch. His touch is gentle and caring, and not like anyone else's. He's the first guy that he's that she's ever, been okay with, touching her. But, she pushes it off, pushes those thoughts away. Pulling her hand back, saying that she can handle it, herself. Well, as she walks away, Belle says, okay, but no, it's not a bad thing to, let someone help you from time to time. And as she remembers the same words being said to her by someone that was extremely close to her in her familia. If you don't know what happened to her familia at this point, where have you been? And why are you watching this video? Go watch Danmachi. Or, as it is normally called, Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? Go watch it, because you shouldn't be here unless you have. I'm assuming that you've already watched it if you're watching this video. Anyway, so, moving on to the next thing. Belle goes back home, goes to sleep with Hestia, because there's literally no point in doing anything else at this point. There's literally no point in sleeping in his own room. So he meets Lily again in her Sheanthrope disguise, and decides to, take her as his supporter, and they go all the way to, and he is given clearance, now that he has a supporter, to go all the way to floor 10. And his lightning bolt kind of works like chain lightning, as it chains through enemies. So yeah. Just waiting for my brother to go into his room. Okay, cool. So, yeah. That happens. So, Freya doesn't give Belle the whole grimoire, because, yeah. Now, because he already has magic, so she doesn't see the reason to, give him anything. So the whole interaction with Eyes doesn't happen. Aina now being even more involved, actually dating and being Belle's girlfriend. Gets more into, the dangers of this supporter that he has. So she goes to the Loki Familia to obtain information on Soma Familia, and that still goes the same way. Just that Loki finds that she's, doing this for personal reasons, which I think she did in canon too, but we're talking personal love reasons. And so then Aina still asks Eyes to save Belle from, the person, but he doesn't need it. She goes down just in case, but she sees him slaughtering a bunch of the ogres that have, surrounded him, and using an enhancement magic spell that he has called Swift Lightning, which the enchantment goes something like, "O great god of lightning above, grant me your speed for a swift escape." Swift Lightning, which enhances his agility tenfold. I know, it's a powerful spell. So he goes and easily picks up all the shit and zooms his way up. So he gets there about when the guy is beating on Lily, and he just fucking drop kicks the bitch, which then drop kicks him into the other adventurers, drops them, and he picks up Lily, princess style, and just runs away as a bunch of killer ants show up. And all of them are dead. Those 4 people are so very dead. As the interaction between, Lily and Belle, like, Lily's like, why did you save me? And Belle's like, because you deserve to be saved. Your life is one worth living. You can be redeemed. It's like, I know you were lying to me the entire time. I knew this was going to happen. But you were just in so much pain that I needed to help you. I care for you no matter what you say. I still care for you. And if you never want to see me after this day, I understand. But just know I still care for you. And Lily says, God, you're an idiot. As they make their way safely up, Belle finds Lily again on the surface. Everyone from their from Soma Familia still thinks she's dead, and she still has all of the money she has saved up, and she's getting extremely close to buying her way out of Soma Familia. So basically, Belle gives her the rest of what she needs to buy her way out of Soma Familia. And asks her to be his supporter again. They then go to Soma Familia, and she gives all the money over to Soma, saying that she wants to be released. Soma then, as agreed upon, releases her from his Familia and then Lily is put into Hestia Familia. Then Hestia puts Lily in her Familia and explains the whole situation with, how Belle is dating both Aina and herself, which kind of ticks Lily off a bit, saying that he's a womanizer, but then Hestia explains to her how he doesn't see the point in hurting other people. If he loves several girls and all those girls love him, why should he have to harm all the other girls by saying yes to only one of them? And explains his whole mentality of he doesn't want to hurt people, so if all the girls are okay with it, why should he have to hurt, their feelings by saying no? Why should he have to hurt himself by saying no? Because he does love them and they love him back, so he would just be hurting both of them. Lily reluctantly sees the logic in this and is okay with it, and Lily officially joins the harem, and because she doesn't want to lose to Hestia, ends up, sleeping with them, not sexual, no sex, but, they're all sleeping, like, cuddling in the bed together. Hestia coming from the back, from behind Belle, and Lily just being snuggled in Belle's arms. And, yeah. And so then I'm going to bring this to Belle meeting Eyes at the guild hall, only to realize that he's lost his green protector, which he didn't even notice, but Eyes did. And he grabs it, and she had grabbed it and brought it to him, and, you know, they agreed to train together. Ai's wanted to train with him more because she saw how, like, powerful he was, and she wanted to know the reasons behind it. And that's where I'm going to end this video. I hope you all enjoyed this as much as I did. So, and with that being said, this has been Blazing What Ifs, blazing away.